So tell me about it. I mean, how is it going? How's the life going? How's your life going right now?
Like I said, a lot of new things. I mean, since I am in 2018, the time when I switched over from a job to doing something what I really wanted to do. Um, Yes, I mean, I didn't know anything, because when you were in a job, you were into typical, I would say not a 9 to 5, you were into a 9 to 10, 12. I mean, it was more of a 14 to 15 hours job kind of scope, where I never got any time to know, about this digital world and what is happening outside beyond just the work. So when I came out of it and I accidentally happened to get into just watching on the Facebook. I'm not a very social media friendly person also. Neither I'm very much in touch or I don't know things about it. And you, of course, know it better. I mean, I'm keeping asking you. You remember the first webinar when I was supposed to attend and I was not able to,
Yeah,
log in and the aspects. And I called you up, Rohan, how do I do this? I called up other CSE students, how do I
yeah,
do this? So when that was something, that journey really took the turn, So when this person I got introduced through him into the digital world. And I found, wow, this is really amazing. I mean, this is something really which I should have probably done long time back, So what I took a decision today of leaving the job and coming into doing something what I really want to do. This platform is so wonderful, whereby we can start picking up things, we can do things, we can reach out to a lot of people. That was what was my main intention of coming out of jobs, etc.
yeah.
Because when I mean, it's been my life whereby I've been actually interacting and I've been in and around the age group of you can say students that is there, because my teaching career put me again interacting with students. So that's where I you to understand certain things about them, certain challenges, because generally when students are there, they're not very open to their parents at certain aspects, and
Mhm.
especially in our culture, it's like that where still that there's a gap. Still, there is a little gap about it, where parents have their own aspirations, they have their own likes, and they want their children to get into a typical kind of stuff. Though, yes, there's some change definitely coming, because now with this online, the digital thing happening, so people are now learning about the parenting skills, so they are becoming aware that they need to give more time to students. But however, still, the percentage is very low. So I've been dealing in and out. I'm dealing with youngsters, like that age group of 20-25. Because when I was in the trainings, different corporate also, so there also I used to see this fresh graduates outside, not very, decisions are not very clear about what they really want to do in life. So these things really brought me out, and that's the reason why I came out of the job. And I felt need to do something. I wish I could help these students channelize their energy, because I found the youth that is they've got beautiful. I mean, they've got so much of energy, beautiful ideas, a lot of things are there. However, they're very confused. And probably the confusion is maybe because there's too much now available also. That's another big challenge of the digital, too much of information. So when you have too much of information, again, for them, it's like, what do I take? I like this, I like this, I like this, I like this also. So it's very difficult for them to pick up, key and decide key what they really want to do in life.
Yeah.
That's where I went into, and after I quit my job, I picked up something which I did, the officially, or you can say the more professional way of getting into career counseling. So
Mhm.
I got myself certified, learned the techniques, learned the test and everything, and how we could come to a conclusion where I could help students at least to get into, the right place. That's how my journey began. And then, yes, again, like I said, a lot of learnings, because I told you, I was not at all, I'm still not. I mean, I'm still learning everything,
Mhm.
Technology for me is totally new. So for me, I still learn a lot of new things. Like today, you put me on the podcast, you said, and I was like, how will I do it? What will happen? What if I go
Mhm.
wrong? What if I, things kept coming into me, because it's not because I don't have the belief in myself. It's like I respect the other person, I respect,
Mhm.
I value uh, and honor, the other person, that he and she has given me this opportunity, but I don't want that I should be a failure for him, because of me in
Mm-hmm.
his program, or they should not. So I wanted, like, okay, I should know everything. So this is how I started learning, and I got into learning things and YouTube, making videos, and so these are very small aspects where I picked up, I learned, and I began. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty slow in my learning aspects, but then
Mm-hmm.
yes, I told myself it's okay if you're slow, but that's the real thing, when you
Yeah.
go slow, it's okay. You don't need to be in a mad race that's going
Yeah.
on, because when you start running too fast, obviously sometimes you fall very early also. So that's what
Absolutely.
I have been following and doing. Let me explore my skills, because I have a good flair with my language, the English language, the spoken as well as written. So I thought, let me explore it, and being creative in mind. Basically, I'm a creative person,
Mm-hmm.
so that added on to it, and I associated myself with them. Yes, I learned because I got an opportunity to learn and test certain softwares, these
Mm-hmm.
application softwares. Okay, so it was bringing me, getting me into more awareness, and how there are so many tools now. You don't actually need to be a tech person, whereby technology you need to know the in and out, or because that was a myth which I had
Yeah.
actually. I don't know codings, I don't know this. How would I do, create a website or create pages or something? In fact, I remember you also when you shared that you were, creating that application of yours when you were in the first initial company of yours, where you really, when you
Mm-hmm.
went as an intern also. So, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, that was really wonderful, So
Yeah.
I found that the softwares, these applications, they actually are a real good tool for people like us, who do not need to get into the nitty gritties of the coding and the back
Yeah.
end part of it. We can just use a drag and drop stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
this is how my journey kept going on. Then now I have started into, like, taking up my own venture a little bit. I started in a very small way, but yes, I'm doing workshops on storytelling and public speaking. Again,
Mm-hmm.
the reason I have chosen two different categories, is the age group of 8 to 15, that age, the schooling age group, because if we catch them young, because
Yeah.
speaking in front of someone or speaking in front of anyone, stage fear
Mm-hmm.
is the biggest challenge for most of the people. Today also, there are so many adults in the corporates and the world outside. It's easy for them to talk on a one-on-one meet, but when you ask them to address a team, or when you ask them to come up on a stage or some podium or something place over there,
Mm-hmm.
it's really difficult for them because they have that fear, and like I always say, the biggest fear is what would people think about me? I'm a
Yeah.
manager, and if I don't deliver well, if I don't deliver, precisely, or my body language and things are not good,
Mm-hmm.
people would ridicule me. They would
Yeah.
make mockery of me, because they would find, अरे मैनेजर है वैसे तो बहुत ठाट मारता है सब कुछ करता है और इसको
Mm-hmm.
प्रेजेंटेशन देनी नहीं आती है. So these are very small aspects. So that's where I thought I should catch them young and start training them. And yes, and best part is like storytelling. I enjoy doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And in this journey of mine, I also identified certain other arenas of myself. And like I said, the language that I had. So then I found that I have a really good voice also, because when I came to know in the digital world, there is something whereby I did not know this was in this technology of voiceover and all that stuff. And I found, wow, why can't I also start working on this line? And yes, it'll help me to fulfill and narrate stories the way I like it. And I'm a kind of a dramatic kind of a person.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so I said, let me utilize the skill of mine also. I mean, this, and God has given me certain innate qualities. Why not make the best of it?
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think this is
Awesome.
how I have begun.
Awesome. Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, so
Okay.
this 2 years, if people, people do ask me, you left, and it was a really good opportunity, a good university, a known university in the north, that's an university.
Mm-hmm.
But and they asked me, like, what are you doing now? How are you doing? And I said, I'm doing wonderful. I'm amazing. So they said, okay. When I share with them what I learned, then the next question immediately comes, so how much are you earning?
Yeah. Yeah.
And my
Absolutely.
question, then my answer to them is very straight. Everything doesn't only, I agree, money is definitely a very strong thing.
Mm.
But what I earned in these 2 years, maybe if I would have been there in my job, I would have never earned it. And it would take me another so many years. Till that time, technology would be a much more, faster because things are
Yeah.
going very quick. And now, thanks to the pandemic, everything has come virtual. So I'm so happy that the decision I took at that moment when I started my learning 1 year back, 2018, 19, I did all this kind of learning stuff. Today,
Mm.
it's giving me a lot of benefit. I'm here with you on a Zoom. I never knew how to even do a Zoom call. I never knew how to get. I had a lot of
Yeah.
apprehensions, definitely fear about it because it's only about. But here I am in front of you. So I mean,
Awesome.
that's it. But those were small, small queries that I kept having in mind. And
Mm.
thanks to you people, I mean, you were really wonderful. You were really nice and supportive to me in that time also. This is how it was.
Okay. So yeah, so this is really wonderful, right? The last 2 years for you. But I really want to
Yeah.
go back to where your school time, your college time, and then what it was like, and then so that initial phase
Okay.
of your life. So how was it, if you remember, or if
Okay.
you?
So you
Yeah.
see now this phase of mine. I'm sorry.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, go
So
on.
now, like you are seeing me here today, I'm so confident and I'm so much so structured now. Rather, I know myself a lot now,
Mm.
right? But let me take you back to my school day. I was a very, very kind of a shy person, not someone who's so open now, who can talk to anybody, anywhere. That's
Mm.
what I am now. Very passive person,
Mhm.
and I always had a kind of a complex inside. Yeah,
Mhm.
it may be because of the upbringing. The most important reason I remember, and this is something which I would definitely want all parents also to listen to and understand this very well. The major reason probably was because you have parents was comparing because in our times academics that was the focus. Numbers was
Mm.
the main focus. Your
Yeah.
first age, your ranks. We had ranks that time. The 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ranks. If you're a first rank, you used to get first rank, second rank, third rank. If you're in the first 10, so wow, you're an intelligent, you're a good person, you're a good student.
Mm.
That's how we were judged. We
Yeah.
our personality or our status of intelligence was judged based on our ranks.
Mhm.
And if you're for 11 to 20 lists there, you're an okay kind. And if you go beyond that, you're low intelligence kind of a person. You're considered to be a dumb kind of a person.
Yeah.
So, probably, and I was a really student. I wasn't someone who was really excellent in my academics. The reason is because I really wanted. I have a craving for learning. I really want to learn, like you've seen. I always
Mm.
want to get into something new things. But my learning was more of, where it should be more practical, where somebody could come and teach. I mean, I
Mm.
used to abhor where have to be judged on, on the education where your education, your knowledge is judged because of examination, where you have to give an examination and that decide, okay, do you really have intelligence or do you have knowledge?
Yeah.
That's something probably which I never liked. I was a graduate and I always had a lot of interest in science,
Mm.
with nature and things like how things are happening, how things work, how, with the celestial bodies, when we learned
Yeah.
about the solar system, the universe, and as we grew up. But everywhere after that, you had to, okay, learn and then give a test. So
Yeah.
test is something like that the I hope it's the gradings and all. That's something which never appealed to me.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
which I believe I'm sure a lot of people also. There are a lot of good people. It's not like we say. Your now people are saying like grades do not matter. I was someone who's really average, not very excel person. But yes, I and now another thing about me was I'm a slow learner. Slow learner in the sense like I like somebody sits in front of me and just me in the sense like now the technology
Yeah.
is there. If you sit with me and you tell me, okay, ma'am, go to this app over here, go here, you do this, and yes, done. I'll learn it up.
Mm.
And once I learn, then it doesn't go out of my mind.
Mhm.
That's
Mhm.
how I am. So
Mhm.
probably that was another reason why because and this helped me out, because our teachers. they normally used to all focus on the front bench. So like I said, the first 10, results, they were the day, or the 20 people. The ones who were in the rank of 23 and 24. So you were not considered immediately. So when a teacher used to ask, I don't blame, probably, 40 minutes lecture and then you have to come to syllabus also. But then that was one thing, because till the time used to finish writing on the board and the sum, and if the bencher said, she used to ask, are you done? They used to say yes, and the board is to be dropped down. That time we had the board system. And I was like, I'm still writing. But the time that sum used to enter in my mind, the board is wiped off. So it used to get wiped off from my head also. So these things, it really helped me out later on, when I start growing up, and I was always like this. I was not very great. Well, the other experiences that I learned during my college and thing is like, yes, I'm really someone who wanted to get into doing a lot. I liked, you can say dancing. So I was always a participant in school competitions, and the I used to always feel bad about it because we were a girls' school, and the convent we were a girls' school, and whenever the male character, and because I was good build all that way, so I was always male character, and I used to long to have, the girls, these female characters. They used to have those parantis and the long hair. I was very crazy about long hair and all that jewelry that they wear. And we had nothing to wear, just wear a kurta, wear a, a chunni they used to tie up, and so I used to always long for that kind of a role, But unfortunately, yes, until I went to college, we still had this kind of a role. So I always had to dance, but I really enjoyed when I used to participate in dance and all that. Another thing I always wanted to do in school was like, come into the LE competitions and participate in the debate competitions and things like that. Oratory, wherever. But again, like I said, the first benchers, the one who do rote learnings, because nowadays they had rote learnings, and convents are pretty strict about this. When you eat, they teach you, and they get into it. So everything is perfect. The language and your speech should be like A1. They don't go for anything below that. And I was not good in rote learning. I used to fail in the rote. So that's how it was. So maybe today I am is because those inner desires, where all those inner qualities were there in me, and slowly I have come out. It took me it was tough time, definitely, as I started growing up, because somewhere, that comparison always there in my mind, she is better than me, or he is better than me, I'm a very good student, somewhere that kept coming into my mind. So it took me a lot of time to shift from that passive person to what I am today. And you guys are really lucky, because you have the digital, you have mentors, and you have a lot of things happening. But in our time, we didn't have anybody to guide us like this, proper channeling and kind of, the psychotherapists and all these things. We never had some kind of thing. So I feel great pride in this, telling that I am a total self-made person. Right from learning the Excel sheet to bringing myself out of that shell, which is really, really very difficult. It's not an easy task. People really give up. But maybe situations happen in such way in my life where I have to fight things. I had to live for my living also. I had to do a lot of struggle. But then I believe that's what made me come out these qualities of mine. And well, that's how my journey from school to what I am today. And the best part, I believe, is when I got my first opportunity to come out a teacher. I got this opportunity. I'm not a trained teacher. Despite not being a trained teacher, I did a good job for 9 to 10 years in teaching. And I believe that was because the way I delivered. And when I came to teaching, that was what I realized. You remember the last benchers, remember the slow learners. So my delivery skill, in the sense, whenever I used to go for a lecture, when I used to give my lecture, I see to it that every student in my class understood what said. So my language used to be English, no doubt, But then I use such a vocab where even a person who was not very good or who came from a vernacular pool, he would also be able to understand what I am saying. I used to give them a lot of examples
Yeah.
related to the context of what talking. So
Yeah.
it helped them to relate and resonate. And that's where I actually realized, because I mean, getting into a school without being a trained teacher, not being a trained teacher, and still, and again, at the first go, I mean, my first interview itself, I was okay. In fact, the first opportunity, the principal offered me a job from up front. Ma'am, would you like to join us? She was said, okay, because they had a charge of this English. It was an English school, but it didn't have two teachers who were actually speaking English or trained students in that. So I thought, second opportunity again when I went, I just went and I did an interview. The first time itself, the principal said, "Ma'am, you're in." And that time I was surprising that then I was supposed to teach science, of not an issue with me. But then she gave me physics, chemistry, and biology. I said in classes from 8 to 12, I said, "Ma'am, I'm in 12 boarding." I said, "Ma'am, they are real career kind of things. They're real important because I'm a biologist."
Okay, so awesome. So that's about your journey. Now now you are in this whole scenario or whole scene of training students and training a lot of people who really don't know what they want, right? I would not be knowing about what I wanted at my college level, right? When I was in third and fourth. When you see this problem of unemployment in India, you see 10,000 vacancies of government job and a crore people are applying for that job. What do you think is a fundamental problem of these Indian kids, right? Are we the job seekers that are solely focused on getting jobs, right? And a crore people are applying for 10,000 jobs for just a government service, right? Even though you can just go there and pursue a private job as well, because that will pay you might be much better than a government job. But what is this mentality of Indian people that pushes us to just do work and just relax? So, what do you think about this whole scenario that's been building around?
Yeah. See, here what I have observed, because now when I was associate at studio, I was doing some callings and interacting with a lot of people, especially youngsters. When I was sharing with them that how you can earn money through the digital way, you can start, actually become real rich by even becoming your own bosses. Why do you want to go? Like, why do you want to, do a job? Okay. But then the question again, because probably this is in our culture, it has been set into our mind, is you get that good, nice wish that things are changing in the government jobs. They are keeping on the contractual ways, and the pension schemes have been closed probably now, right?
Yeah.
Still, I find people are still behind this getting to government job is only and only because parents are more there into it. It's a secure. Parents are more inclined that getting into a job is like at least you are going to get your monthly income. It's a decided income that's going to come into the house. It's a sure thing that you can go for 10 days, 20 days, or 30 days, but you're at least going to get something, right? Still, it will take time for our Indian. It's more because the parents and students and children do want to venture out. They do want to come out into starting up or getting into businesses, because, like I said, you people, the generation now, they are exposed to different technologies whereby they understand that yes, online, or you can say getting starting up your own startups will definitely take time. But again, there is one little catch over here. Each one of you wants to, again, they want to become rich within a day.
Yeah.
It is actually not at all possible, because even if you want to get into your own business, there are a lot of ways and different modes by which you can definitely earn a good amount of money. But that again requires equal dedication, equal patience. It requires, in part is you have to be consistent in whatever you are doing. You will definitely be doing it, because there are a lot of scams. And I'll tell you another thing is, the reason I feel is because parents are not yet educated in terms of the digital world or these technologies, etc. So they feel that this is getting into business or getting into certain stuff. You really, because they are into the conventional businesses. They think you have to get into conventional business if you get. So it requires a lot of capital, right? And I don't blame. Okay, it's a service class mentality where we have been taught from the beginning. Our parents are into services, our grandparents and things like. So it's my brother, my sister. They're all into work, into the jobs. And if you are into a private job, yes, you definitely would get more. However, it's again a situation where it's not sure. Right, you may get an appraisal of 15% also, but you may not even get any appraisal. Right. But in the government job, because they have that standard, the slabs, they have the standard, DAs and everything. So they know that this is going to come. Whether I work, I take a holiday, or I don't do anything also, this is going to come to me. There's nothing like performance linked incentive for in the government jobs. Okay, except when it comes to the promotions. Okay, then they have, but then again, the promotions are not based on the performances. It's more on your connectivity, your links with the seniors, right? But then the other person who is even with a clerical job, so even if he's there, but he knows that every year I'm going to get a certain amount of increment. So why would I want to take that stress of getting into a private job, working for 12 hours, working for 15 hours, and after that I'm incentive, or I wouldn't get. That's the reason I believe. That's the reason why still we have students moving into the government job. That race is still going on. And mostly it's because of the parents who are pushing them. They say, "नहीं ठीक है, एक security तो है ना, तुम एक बार government job clear कर लो, bank job ले लो, and उसके बाद then do whatever you want." That is the answer they give to the children.
Do you see this as also something as a society we have been taught that we don't question our parents or we don't question our seniors? Whatever they think is right.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, this is societal, definitely, because our parents, like I said, they have been finding that jobs are something which is going to give you security. Okay, security in terms that every month you're going to get an income coming into your house. It's a sure shot. Okay, whereby if I'm not into it, I would not be getting it. So this is there. It is definitely there, and convincing the parents is, by children who want to take the step aside. They want to get into businesses or self things they want to get into doing. But then the parents, even if they make them understand, but the parents say कि पहले तुम job secure कर लो, because उसके बाद तुम्हें जो करना है करो. Okay, so this is there into them right from the beginning, because they have seen that kind of life. They have lived that kind of life. They have made whatever, their houses, their properties, their, educating their children, the marriages, they had the PFs and all that. So they have been doing in that way. So the savings also are in that similar way. They expect that you should save. When you go to them, they'll tell you, "Beta LIC mein dal dena, beta fixed deposit mein dal dena." I remember, I don't recall with any parent, they will tell you कि अच्छा तुम mutual fund में डालो बेटा, बिंदास डाल या share ले ले तू. Right? Absolutely. Because maybe he or she, that parent of his, has not himself taken those kind of risks, of investing in different pockets in different places, whereby he could have generated more, right? again, the reason could be because of lack of knowledge at that moment. The knowledge was not very easily available on the click of a button.
Yeah.
That's the reason why that gap is still there. But yes, I feel it will slowly close up. When I interact with students, I tell them, I said, see, if you want it's not that your parents don't understand you, okay? It's more that they're concerned about your well-being, right? Now, when you go to your parents, please go with a nice, proper, solid plan. Okay, if you are thinking of doing something like maybe you're going for a business or you're looking up to start up something online, whatever it could be, please do a proper research. Share with them that if I'm getting into a formal education, after the formal education you want me getting into a competitive exam, okay, and after getting the competitive exam there is again no surety about getting that job of whatever I'm looking out for, right?
Yeah.
That means I'm spending about 10 to 12 lakhs in my education, the formal education, the graduation. Then you're going to spend about 50 to 60,000 rupees or more, again depending on the competitive exam. So that means 4,60,000 rupees plus I'm been spending about 5 years or 6 years preparing and all that stuff, right? And now just let me share my plan, whereby whatever education I can even do a mere graduation, and I believe, because you can complete that 3-year graduation, I can do that. And the same money which you are spending, 50 to 60, maybe even if you give me that 50,000 which you are looking for your competitive exam, give that to me and let me invest it, because getting into this business is going to require lesser investment for me. The only thing what I need to do here is after 6 years, and that too not a very sure income that I'm going to get, here I can get into assurance that within 6 years I would definitely even earning 6-figure amount. So this is what my advice I generally give to my students or children who want to get into business or the online business or something like that. I said, give them a proper solid, explain to them properly. I'm sure they will definitely understand, because they have not seen the digital world. They do not know what is beyond the traditional job system. That's what it is.
Yeah, that makes so totally sense. Uh, so I guess our parents and country itself, right? The country is made of people. Were raised like being a risk averse kind of society, not taking a lot of risk. So it goes back to my point. I was having a chat with this guy I recently interviewed with. So he was he was a US citizen. He was living in Portugal right now. So his life was, he moved out of his home at 16, right? He started a job with selling something that just gave him a $10 every day, right? So that was what he was earning from that. Now he was a VP of product at one company, and he worked remotely for 6 years. Every 2 years he used to move from one country to another, right? I don't see this possibility, a hint of possibility in Indian family or an Indian student doing this, right? And it's close to normal in USA, right? It's close to normal that another person who can do the same thing, and it would be considered normal. And if you do this here, people would say, okay, what is he doing? Pagal ho gaya, something like that, right?
Very true. Very true. Very true. See, again, it's all because we have not been doing this since so long, and it's been imbibed, it's been ingrained into ourselves. Like, okay, I'll give you another very simple example. And I was just having with my mentor who was talking. He gives us a task. He just gave us one task. That is, he says, I don't know what you do, but in the next 15 days, I want you to earn something whereby you are going to do a door-to-door selling. Okay. The thought of going for a door-to-door selling itself hits you. यार क्या मैं वो सेल्समैन हूँ क्या कि मैं सेल्स पर्सन जाऊंगा, लोग क्या बोलेंगे, सोसाइटी वाले क्या बोलेंगे, अरे कामिनी ये क्या कर रही है तू, अभी क्या टिफिन पैक करके लेके आ रही है, what would they think? So the immediate thoughts that come to your mind is, what would everybody think about you? Okay, because this is how we have been built up. This is how we have been, taught about things like that. Okay, that selling door to door is only done by someone who's very needy. Okay, that's where we think, someone जो ठेले वाला लगाता है, यानी कि he is not having, but we are wrong. He is the one who's really earning much, much more than what you are earning, in a salaried person. So I'll tell you, the biggest challenge is the salaried person is the person who has been pushed down by the higher level people, because always this is there, the feudal system that kept working, they kept pushing you down, they kept telling you, no, you are not eligible for this particular aspect. Business is only for someone, a particular community. If you remember, if you go back to our Indian culture, the Vanyas or the Banyas, what we call, they are supposed to be the business people. Okay. And then the lower people were the ones, the Shudras who were there, they were supposed to do the menial job. So if somebody today of that category also, if they pick up some kind of a job like this, well, nobody will say anything. But the middle category, the Kshatriyas, okay, who are into the wars. But then these Kshatriyas, now, since there is no war left, so we have come to a job. Okay. So for us, job is the only way we can start earning, or that's the only way we have been taught. No, this is the only way you can do it. So when such kind of different culture, this kind of thing, like you said, working in a country for 6 months or 6 years and then moving out, where is not really prevalent here. Yes, but then I am sure now, if you youngsters, if you start doing this, yes, initially there will be some kind of revolt. There can be some kind of, no's and things from your house, etc. But then when you are sure about what is going to give you, I would say go ahead. Let's start. Why do we wait for somebody else to start it? Why can't you do it? Why can't you be the revolutionaries and start it? Who's stopping you? But then what happens again? What are you doing? You are also looking at somebody else giving you an opinion. Right? Absolutely. So you are waiting for somebody else's opinion, and then you say, हमारे country में ऐसा नहीं होता है. But why don't you start? Where were startups initially there? Were startups there? We never had startups kind of stuff. Nobody was into the idea of startups, remember? But if you remember, you yourself started, your journey was with a startup. Right? So was it that they were not doing well? They were doing beautiful. It was really well. In fact, startups give you those opportunities whereby you can also show your real skills.
Absolutely.
Right? It's all about trusting. It's all about knowing, how well if you are 100% sure this is going to work, please go ahead. Care a damn about what others are doing. Because see, if you put that foundation stone, somebody else will start with you.
One question here.
The challenge is even you as an individual, you are also not taking that step.
Yeah, so
because you are also concerned.
Agreed. So I have one question here, right? So you talked about trust, and to be honest, I see this that whoever I'm working with, or whoever I'm surrounded with, right, the trust factor is very less, right? And I have seen this in my workplace. I have seen this in the person with I hang out with, or even relatives, right? So this is a factor that people are going to pull you down if you're going to go up, and they won't be trusting you with your words, or they won't be trusting you with your actions, right? But the same thing, if I go to and talk to a person, or my same company, I talk to a person in London, he would trust me much more than a person who is just sitting beside my desk, right? And that's something I have seen, that this is prevalent in our society, because we don't trust people. And if you are going to give me 100 rupees, my instant reaction would be, there is some catch, daal mein kuch kala hai, something like that. I won't be trusting you that you are giving me 100 rupees. And that's the simplest example I could give you about how we have been raised, or this is ingrained, I guess so, because this is my instant reaction as well, that if somebody is going to give me something that's beneficial for me, I won't be trusting that. How could this happen? This hasn't happened till now, right? So what's this phenomenon?
See, again here, I would not say that it's not there in our in India or things like that, because if that would not happen, you wouldn't have having Mukesh Ambani, who's still running his business with a lot of his old employees. Okay, when
Mm-hmm.
even when the split up happened, he was the one person. His I mean, because I was with Reliance and whatever I know about. So these business tycoons are there. That trust factor is still there. It's only
Yeah,
what is
yeah.
happening that each one is in that mad race. We are
Mm-hmm.
like idhar jao, and a cutthroat kind of a stuff that is there. When things are going to be very simplified, we ourselves have made things complicated. Okay,
Yeah.
like you said, if I ask you to do something, I'll say yeah, because I mean, this is with me. Well, I just believe in one thing. I have seen this. Like, I do my karma.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if I have to give somebody, I'll give it.
Mm-hmm.
What Rohan thinks about it, when he's accepting or not, it's his karma now.
Yeah.
But that doesn't stop me from doing the good that I want to do, the trust that I have. I have trust on Rohan. Okay, tomorrow if I tell Rohan this is what I want, Rohan will do it to me. Rohan doesn't do it to, that's his thing. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't you see, the best way is like, you don't need to wait for somebody else to tell you about it. You keep doing. Okay, and like you said, business modules. Now, yes, people have started coming up. We are coming back to that same kind of module whereby you can talk about trust when you're talking about trust. Definitely, because this is what has been put into our minds. And I don't blame us, because it has come over the years.
Yeah.
When the feudal system started, all that started, that's where the trust and things started breaking up.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I believe, I still have that faith in that if we keep doing it, it will definitely happen. And there are a lot of people who still have trust. Trust has not gone. Okay, only that few people, the few obviously, and this happens in every society. It's only that you're not able to view that happening in London and that stuff, but there
Yeah.
also this kind of things happen over there also. Breaking of trust is over there too. It's
Yeah.
only that we are being able to just see a few things. In our country itself, we have so many business people, business houses, okay,
Mm-hmm.
whereby they're really doing wonderful. It's all
Yeah.
because of the trust.
Right.
And see, the most important thing is, it's how you, as a management person, okay, if you're into a management, as a management, how do you treat your employees? Okay, if you treat them, give them with all the facilities, give them with all the kind of thing, appreciate them. The biggest challenge now is each one thinks I am better than the other. We
Yeah.
have stopped appreciating people. That's the biggest challenge. If I tell, okay, one, can you appreciate you would say, uh, he's not so good. The first thing you'll say is not so. Why should I appreciate him? He's always been the national. But look at the other side of him also. I'm definitely sure you would be finding that there's so good qualities about him also, right? But you draw that line yours, you draw that gap yours, you put a barrier over there and you don't do it. So I
Yeah.
believe it's not that it's possible or there's not, still there is a lot of trust. It's only the few you're seeing here and you say, okay, in India, this is not happening. No, it's not like this. In India also, there are so many business houses who are still working on the trust factor.
Yeah, absolutely makes sense. Okay, so just moving from this topic to another, right? So you have been growing in the age where I don't see any other example other than you who speaks or writes English so beautifully, right? And I don't, I cannot. I just want to recall that. How did this happen? How did you start learning about English? And was it prevalent at your times when you were in school? How many of girls from your school were so good at English? And what strata of society you were in those times?
Okay. Well, I was fortunate enough that I got my education in a convent. That's one thing. And the convents are pretty strict, okay? But then the beauty of them is that they really get you into the spoken in the language which they really want, which you are in. It's a medium in which you are into. So I remember it began with like, we were punished for speaking a single word in Hindi. And in those days, this is way back somewhere in the 70s, you get what, the 70s and 80s. So 1 rupee fine was a big thing for us, it was a big amount. I recall still, honestly, we never get money from home as pocket money, as nothing like that. In tiffins also, my mother used to cook with a different variety. She learned, how to cook stuff like maybe dogas and things like that. A child, she can give a child that kind of variety. And I still recall, when we used to have school fees, only day I used to get a 1 rupee as to spend for myself. And in that 1 rupee, you won't believe we used to get a batata vada for 20 paise. Okay, and that was a luxury in our canteen. So they used to only have that batata, and then there was some sweets and chocolates and all. And the other thing, then inside the school gate, we had, the ice cream guy, candy guy. He used to be there, and we were not to eat that ice cream. The sisters used to always tell me that ice cream is got gums and this little salt over, and because we were still young, we didn't understand, they're trying to show us. It was no magic and no germs actually, but then, those things were given into. What I'm trying to say is that's the place where actually probably my spoken English and written, because, convents, they are very particular about it. In your marking system also, the highest person exams also would be someone who's just 70 or 75. Okay, and in those days there was nothing like one-line answers. We were always subjective, composition likhna hai, comprehensions, your question answer also. There was no one-line answer at all. So you could not score easily, except in grammar, that was the place where you could score full marks. But the other part of it, I probably in my base actually can a strong. And today I have seen in my school group, we formed a plan. Yes, many of us, I have a colleague I'm a friend of mine, she's my classmate, and she's a very good writer. She is into writing. And I believe we all, the ones who are coming out from the convent, definitely that makes a big difference. And I believe that's where I got into the spoken as well as the written convent. So we are able to use our language very well. So not afraid. It's the place. I believe if schools start really doing so, probably you'll have really people who want to do those who are. Of course, I don't think everybody has to get into a convent to get into it. They start following similar kind of systems. The base came from there. My base came out from there. That's what it is.
Yeah, awesome. So in 70s, it's really hard to realize that people would be studying English as a subject because my parents and everyone, they were never having this luxury. So I guess you were grateful enough that you went there and you learned everything about it. And yeah, I mean, it's really one of the examples that I can give to anyone, right? That okay, so in 70s as well, we had a lot of great people out there schooling from great for schools, and I mean, yeah, that's the first of only example I have, right?
No, I'll tell you, because in those days, this was really a very tough task for my parents because salaries at that time were very big, and in fact, even getting your child admitted into a convent, the parents were interviewed first. My dad and my mom were interviewed. How would you, if you're putting your child into an English medium school, how are you going to teach them? Because if you are not, educated, you're an English spoken person. And both parents, it's not that only the father or the mother. The father and the mother are both good and they're both interviewed. I remember, I still call my dad when they discuss, and the sister who even taken it away, she said, your wife doesn't speak English and the child is with the mother at home. Father is not going to all either because my dad was working. My dad took an assurance, he says, you do not worry about it. It's my guarantee that yes, my child will get enough time to learn. And the beauty of it is, I really appreciate my mom. She also was a very learner. Oh, she learned English right from the beginning. And I'll tell you, this is a funny thing. We were staying in colony, and we had a neighbor. My neighbor was there. She was Miss Holmes, Aunt Holmes. My mom, she didn't know Hindi, and my mom did English. So what they do, they used to learn from each other. She used to teach my mom English, and she used to teach her Hindi. So that effort also parents took. This is what we as children, we forget. Our parents do everything that we require that child gets, in a real good environment, a good school and everything. So she put in that efforts. And I still recall because, of course, she was very good into it, and she could now read fluently. She could read English and things. So when she used to take up my studies, actually that's when I got into the roto learning habit, and which I was not good at. I used to get beaten up for that because I could reproduce the answer in the same way what the teacher had given. And my mom used to get worried. तुमने ऐसे नहीं लिखा तो marks cut जाएंगे, But my dad on the other side, he had seen the world. He is telling me, okay, she has understood. You can write on your words. And I believe this happened with me till last 7th or 8th, and it was in 8th, one of monitors in the convent stuff. So we had this monitor system. She was, row monitors we had, and I'm sure you're into it. We used to have the class monitor, then row monitors. And this was a history class, and we were told the row monitors were told you to take up the answers from students. So one question was given. And I was trying to learn. I was not able to give it properly. Then my role model, she helped me out. She says, Kamini, just tell me one thing. Did you understand the answer or this question, what is given? I said, yes. She said, then why are you not able to explain it to me, on your own? I said, but don't you think Mom did? She said, who said so? So that was my big point. Where then I started writing my answers on my own, what I understood. So probably that's another place where I started getting into writing things the way I want. I started using vocab, and maybe it was just for history, but then thereafter I didn't have to learn answers. That was one. I just understood the question, read the stuff, and got into it. In fact, I'll share you a good example for this is when I was doing my master in English. I did my master in English also. And reason when I did that, I won't believe I did it through a correspondence of it. Before the examination, 15 days, I got somebody to give me a syllabus and everything. And I said, I found learning, literally, just to write answer and things like that. I went for the exams just by reading, and we had Shakespeare, okay? So think of it, the old English, thou, and shall, and all that kind of English. So I actually went for my examinations because I didn't have that much of time, just reading the summary of the poem, and I went and reproduced. When I was in the examination center, I found these girls, writing sheets, and picking up one sheet and another sheet, third sheet, and they're writing, and how are you worried? I said, yaar, mujhe kuch nahi aata hai, matlab, I had done all questions. And when the result came out, obviously it scored more than those girls scored. Because later I came from them कि मैम बोला गया था कि जितने पन्ने भरोगे आप वो मार्क्स मिलेंगे आपको. So that was this is what was the education system, And second things, they were not from they were from vernacular, so their writing was the handwriting, you write one alphabet time. So the pages fill up, and I was a convent, so मेरी तो handwriting थी, obviously we are compressed, so I didn't need 3 pages, So this is just I'm sharing is like that's the difference what happens, the pace. So when probably convent and the roto learning, I stopped and I started writing on my own. Maybe that's where this into me.
My next question was around how do you see women in the labor force? Because right now, I see this interesting graph, and it's very worrying as well. It's about the participation of women in the labor force in India is declining to almost what it is around 20% right now, right? And it's even less than we
Okay.
have what we have in Bangladesh. It's around 8%, not 20% itself. So in Bangladesh, we have it around 65% of women are there in doing some kind of job. In India, it's the number is around 8 to
Mm-hmm.
10%. And it has declined from 32% in 2000s to what we are in 2020, it's around 28%. And if you see this trend, if this trend goes on, I don't see India
Mm-hmm.
that's being projected or the situation of unemployment getting better anytime soon. Why do you think Indian
Okay.
women?
I do not know how and where you this kind of right now. What you status only respect to people who are, maybe that you are looking at.
Mhm.
I A lot of people, women, are now getting entrepreneurship. So probably that's, I mean,
I'll broaden this question up. So just to make sure that you have the full context, right? So when I say this 88% of Indian women in the workforce, I would mean even from a safai wala, right? Or to a tea stall, to a person, to a woman who's a housemaid, right? Anyone who is earning 1 rupee is in labor force, right? And that number is in India is 8%. And I see a lot of women in my workforce or even other companies as well working in the businesses world. But what I can decipher from that is only, I mean, only what we see in our day-to-day life is only the 1% of India we are seeing. And in that 1% of India, there might be 50% women working. But in the whole 100% of our 1.3 billion people in India, there's just 8% of women working. Do you see this true or is it right?
okay, see, I have not gone into the calculation or the statistics part of it yet. Definitely do a research on this also.
Hmm.
But like, yes, whatever, whomever I have come across, in the, you can say in the last 2 7 months, interacting with so many women, uh, people are more than about 1,000 and above people, more than, whereby, yes, I've seen that they all are to, because after the digitalization has come up, they are wanting to get into business. Now, again, maybe something is where you're saying the decline is there because our women are considered to be just home.
Hmm.
Okay, they do not on as businesswomen,
Yeah.
right? You might in our household, in our houses, our mothers, they were never considered in the when the decisions have to be taken. If you're talking about, when father talks about different ways and modes of savings, or he has never taken an opinion of your mother, okay, or where do you think this investment that I should
Yeah.
do, okay, or if this property is what I'm taking, do you think that would be a right property? So I have said this because that was, you know were never included, women were never included decisions in the house.
Hmm.
Okay, it was considered, what do you know, that was kya malum hai.
Hmm.
Probably that's where, when women are coming out a little bit, that's because, in fact, I would say that the best contingency, best finance managers, why? Because when you require any kind of money, your mother always has something in store, right?
Yeah.
जब भी कुछ emergency चाहिए और salary आ गई, खत्म हो गई, but कहीं ना कहीं से your mom would always have some money with her, whereby she would give that in case of an
Yeah.
emergency, right?
Yeah.
And the best is when Modi did the closing of the notes,
Hmm.
and the thing happened. The biggest was with the because they had in all their notes at different places,
Hmm.
and somewhere where they thought also कि मैं 500 रुपए का इस गठड़ी के नीचे रखा, इस पॉकेट में रखा, and that probably that is another reason why
I see it that we are not being included in the financial, that is the decision making. That's the reason why not considered as to be good business or good women, that is there. Although you would see women are much better managers in respect, because they know, because in the house, so they're the best managers, know how to, they're PR managers, finance managers, good social managers, everything, right? Time management is the best part that they do.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's one thing that they're there. Now, yes, when they come out, you'll find very few, I the women who I spoke to, they want to get doing business. And I said, okay, then why do you enroll? Why don't you learn the digital? Like, okay, ma'am, just let me get in touch with my husband. Discuss it with my husband. So there, when I have a word again, when I talk to them again, like, ma'am, my husband said, there's a risk in this. You do it. How would you manage with the house? I mean, this is going to require. This is the biggest stopper. Because she doesn't get that.
Absolutely.
Okay, because probably she's trusted business person, or she's not trust that she can do, or she can, in both ways. That's the thing.
Absolutely, makes sense. Yeah, I mean, this
so
starts from our house.
There are of them who are
It starts from our house, right?
Yes, it definitely, because it starts in your house itself. Ask yourself. I mean, if your mother says that she will,
right? Or would you immediately say, okay, you would love her? Ima, what do you know of business? But tomorrow, if she is to get into a job, she just expresses a desire that I want to go and work somewhere. But you would laugh at her. You would say, you would ridicule her. You would look at her, saying, why do you go for a work? I'm there. I'm earning now. Dad is earning. What do you want to do? But we don't consider her desires, or maybe she just wants to want to see what world outside. Is it really the real thing we are listening to, or what we're talking about? Is it really real? But we don't. We allow her. Because then the state thinks, because we become selfish here. Who will take care of the house? Who would give us the breakfast in the morning? Who would take care of my, the clothes and stuff like that? If the maid comes, who's going to check it out whether she's doing the work?
Absolutely.
So we are the ones who are inhibiting her, and this is right from the beginning. So the ones who have actually come out are the ones where like you said, a very few percentage of our male dominant, where they have come out and they've permitted, and again, it is only because a need. In that house, maybe you have taken up a loan or something, so to over that loan, you have permitted, okay, jao, tum karo. It's for your selfish, the selfish desire of you are allowing her to go out. And observe, when you have these working women, they have more pressure because they're managing their house. They have to see to it, making arrangements for the food, the children, everything. And at the same time, they're managing the work stuff.
Absolutely.
So it's probably because the culture has been done. But yes, I am sure. I mean, I really feel bad times, I think it would also be because you talked about Bangladesh and places where the labor force is more high. Is because there I also believe that we have poverty. Okay, we have poverty in our country too. But it is being taken care by the other aspects, somewhere or other. That's the reason why, probably it's also a reason why we are not into that.
Absolutely. So that's a good reasoning, because there might be some cases that people just need to elevate from whatever status they are in, maybe in Bangladesh or Pakistan. But in India, we consider that it's a sin or something. But that's totally fine. But this, if you
more I believe is because you have seen her as a mother, you have seen her as a housewife, you have seen her as just someone who's there inside that four walls. So when she wants to do it, you feel, in fact, I would say she would be more knowledgeable because she's sitting at home, she's seeing the business news, she may be getting into the market, she'll be doing that. And that's the reason she's got the desire. I'm sure if you would ask her advice, she would have more better information than you would have.
Yeah.
But we don't trust. We don't look at her with that. We don't give her that opportunity to put one step ahead.
Yeah.
That's the biggest challenge. So we always can't. I mean, even with me also. I mean, I remember in our house, my dad used to take all the financial decisions. Okay, but the good thing with dad was like he used to bring my mother into it. Okay, मैं ये लिया है, इसमें ये हो रहा है, आज पे market down हो रहा है. So he talk also. So she has not got into it, but she had some kind of an idea about it. Today, I feel at a loss because I really want to learn. If I have to get into financial, I do not know where I have to save and what I have to do, because that's one area which I never got into it, nor got me about it.
Yeah.
Right? But if this had been taught from beginning, maybe today I would have a good saving. I would have also put my money in those specs.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's another
Absolutely.
reason probably.
Yeah. Awesome. So this chat has been really interesting, right? And it's been very enlightening because I have come to know so much that I really didn't know I could. Yeah, I mean this has been going on for 1 hour to 20 minutes now. So let's close this off. What do you want to yeah? What do you want to conclude this whole session for whoever is listening to it?
Well, for the youth, I say do not imbibe you the lesson of patience. Okay, patience is something which you really need to keep inside yourself, because your impatience gets you into anger and all those stuff. Okay, and it makes you do certain aspect of your life. You know, take decisions of your life which is not good for you. That's one thing which I would like to show the youth. And another thing is, you guys are in the world of technology. So make the best use of technology rather than abusing it. Okay, start utilizing this technology, the different social media platforms to, increase your growth, your own development. If you feel if you are not yet done, please do an introspection yourself. Identify your strengths, because this is very, very important. It's absolutely okay. It's never too late. Even if you do it today, believe me, it will help you lead a very wonderful life ahead. That's one thing which I would want the youth to know this. For parents, I would want parents to really give your children a chance. Come out of that old days कि हमारे ज़माने में ये होता. You also start educating yourself to be a trend. Learn the technology. It's not difficult. You may take a little longer time to learn, but you would be able to learn it. I myself have done it. So I'm just an example of it. I'm learning even today. Very small aspects. So this is them, and please understand your children. They have their own desires. They have their own dreams. Give them a right path, to follow their dreams. I'm not saying let them do as they want, but give them the right guidance as per their dreams that they have. Have faith, and they are now more knowledgeable. It's only utilize them and channelize them very nicely. They're going to be amazing friends. They're going to be amazing, the future.